Alright, what's going on, people? Just joined the Abomination. Appreciate y'all coming through, checking out the video. Now, this recast T'Challa movement is still going on. Mostly with black folks. I think everybody else can kind of just like, forget about it. Oh, well, it happened. Marvel's content, it was here. Now it's gone. On to consuming the next. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm not trying to make it too long. I'm trying to go ahead and get these points out. I, for one, believe, go watch my last video. All representation, no respect. The recast T'Challa thing didn't even have to be addressed. Honestly, the movie shouldn't have been made. You should have gave these people time to grieve. There's no way we should be watching this man die on the screen.
Oh dear, I've said too much.
For some reason, people can't separate the actor from the character, and I do think that that's a problem, especially for what that character represents. And to kill him compared to all these other, let's say, white characters who survive for generations, live through many iterations. Hell, Groot even sacrificed himself and he died, and he's still here.
We are Groot.
At the same time, but I personally, I think Disney's Marvel should just keep fucking up. Keep making every terrible decision. Continue to alienate your core fans. Continue to bastardize these characters that actually built this MCU, or has created so many passionate and hardcore fans that we care so much about how these characters are portrayed on the screen, how they're depicted, how they're handled, and we'll talk about that more, as far as like people wanting to see these characters portrayed on screen, and in certain ways or respectable ways. But if y'all recall, in my video, all representation, no respect, Winston Duke says something that was pretty telling for me. How you can tell these people really don't even pay attention to this MCU or really understand what's going on. They're just being fed or pumped information, and they're going along with it as if it was gospel. So Winston Duke says in this T'Challa situation, recasting him, I'm not going to go into all of it, but this right here, but there's a level of trust that we should all have for a comic book world that has multiple dimensions and parallel dimensions and multiple stories and possible futures and possible reimaginations in the past, and just multiple universes that they're actually experimental with. So I feel my level of trust is that the medium can support a diversity of interpretations that can actually make us all happy. Now, what that sounds to me like, with multiple universes, there are really no consequences, because if something drastic or terrible happens here, you can easily have this other universe to say, oh, hey, well, here's this character that you wanted to see that we killed, or we know we said that these events over here were like the end all be all type thing, but we got something over here in this universe that can help us keep on going. Basically, they can pump out a whole bunch of bullshit that's justified.
Well, this is outrageous. It's crazy.
And this man is saying that trust the medium, which is being handled by people. Okay, because apparently we're not trusting the comic books or looking to those for the stories or for the insight or how to handle these situations. We're just looking to what the people in charge are telling us. And that'd be cool if the people in charge cared about the products, the projects, or these comics, these stories, these characters that they're based on, and wanted to tell these respectful stories. But as we see in this article right here, now this is from where's this man, executive producer Nate Moore, who has been a producer. Okay, he's a producer. All right, now let me just go into, let's see what this man said, because Winston Duke said we should trust these people, right? Everybody's best people for the job, that's been going around, or who knows better than the people in charge of the MCU on these characters and how to handle them. Well, this is from Nate Moore. For me, one thing I think is interesting about Marvel's process, and specifically for writers, I would say a lot of times we're pitched writers who love Marvel, and to me that's always a red flag. It's a red flag because they love Marvel. Because I go, oh, I don't want you to already have a pre-existing idea of what is because you grew up with issue 15 and that's what you want to recreate. I want somebody who's hard on the material who goes, what is this? I think there's a movie here, but maybe we should be looking at it in this way. So he wants somebody to not have any pre-existing knowledge, not a lot of pre-existing knowledge. I've said before, Disney's Marvel, they're not interested in anybody who's going to ask questions. They're not interested in anybody who's going to challenge them. That one lady who said, are we going too far attacking the audience in the She-Hulk series? Like she asked that question and they just blew over it. Like, nah, it'll be all right. It'll be fine. And honestly, they're right. People are still going to consume this fucking content that don't make no sense. But because you love it, again, you're going to want to see these characters respected. And that's not what they're about. They're about telling their story. And I think, again, the best example of that for me was Marcus and McFeely, who weren't comic guys coming up, but were like, wait, Captain America? This seems a bit weird. What if we kind of looked at it in this way? And they weren't married to anything. Nothing was, there was nothing sacrosanct. So I don't know who he's referencing. Are these... It says he's worked on Captain America Winter Soldier earlier, right here. And I guess they were the writers for that or something. But they got two people that didn't know nothing about the comics, but said, okay, we're going to work with what we got. Understandable. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But you can still reference material to help with this MCU, which the MCU is based on. Like I was saying with the recast T'Challa thing. Well, if you would have just had Shuri finding out or figuring out the quantum verse or multiverse or whatever, then you could have simply had T'Challa in the Black Panther suit, not Chadwick Boseman. You could have had T'Challa just in that suit talking to Shuri, saying, okay, I'm going to go through this multiverse. And as he goes through that multiverse to figure things out or something, or maybe he's like summoned through this portal, through this multiverse by Doctor Strange and the rest of the Illuminati. Not the guys that were killed in that fucking movie, but the Illuminati. And that way you can attach him to a bigger plot while Shuri holds down Wakanda here and deal with things. All right, he's still the Black Panther, the King Black Panther. All right, but she's a Black Panther because, hey, we need a Black Panther Wakanda at all times. Again, not a comic book, but there was a way that you could have went about it while referencing stories or using elements from stories that came in the comics. You don't have to be married to it, but it can definitely give you some ideas or some way outs to deal with some things. And I think that's important to be able to go,
it doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Look, the source material is great and I love it. And comics work great in the medium they were built in, but that's not a direct one-to-one translation to the best version of the movie. Well, honestly, you can never get the best version of a movie because it's all subjective. It's all people's opinions. Every decision is going to piss some people off and please a whole lot. So this idea that this is the best version of the movie, that's not real. And although there are two different mediums, things can still be changed, or things can still be you can still translate a lot of the storytelling to a movie format. And of course, you can take out some elements, you can add some elements that are in your MCU that can contribute to the story, make it coherent, make it make sense. But this person shouldn't just be allowed to get away with you can't directly translate comics one-to-one. You can translate them, probably not one-to-one, but you can give a damn good adaptation that a lot of people will fall in love with. And sometimes it takes someone who's out of this culture to go, hey, I know you think it should be this, but maybe it should be this other thing.
Great Scott. I know, this is heavy.
So again, somebody that's out of the culture, somebody who's not connected to it, to tell these people, to tell these stories. They're not connected to it, but they can give you the best version of their story. How? You don't know the original story. Again, I'm not trying to hold y'all too long. I'm trying to hurry up, get through these points because this shit is sickening, honestly. But all right, so that's that. Now, directly under that, Screen Rant continues on, and they have this headline or whatever, this topic. Being willing to break away from the comics has helped the MCU. So they're trying to back up his points. They're trying to justify what he's saying. Like, oh, he's right. Look at this version of Thor. So they're talking about this comical Thor is a better version because Here are their words. The greatest example of this might be the most apparent in Thor franchise. Chris Hemsworth's God of Thunder was void of anything resembling a personality in his first MCU outing, which is not far off his comic book counterpart. The humor almost exclusively came from the fish out of water trope that comes with being from another planet. Now, I don't know who this writer is, but Thor's not from another planet. He's an actual god. He's from another realm, another plane of existence. None of these people are fans. They just talking about the shit. They just making shit. All right. Which was a shame, given Hemsworth's natural knack for comedy. When he teamed up with director Taika Waititi, however, he gave Thor his own spin and became the goofy god that fans loved in Thor Ragnarok. I hated that movie. That was supposed to have been Hulk's movie, a better Hulk, not Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. But even that version of, or if that was a Thor movie, it was terrible. Just a lot of people, a lot of actual fans of comics in these characters, and these characters would agree that that movie was where the MCU like plummeted off the cliff. It's been going downhill, but that was just like that's where the MCU at is right now. But anyway, so that's what they're saying. So right after that, to help justify Nate Moore's little comments, they say that. But if that was the best version of this character, if it was, a great departure from the comics, if this is the best version of these characters, that movie of this character, well, how come Chris Hemsworth says Thor's MCU return needs a drastically different tone? If we're creating the best version of these characters, why is the version so terrible that the actor has said he's not returning for this movie, for this franchise, for this character, unless something is changed, unless it's drastically different? Here is his words. You look at Thor 1 and 2, they were quite similar. Ragnarok, Love and Thunder are similar. I think it's about reinventing it. I've had such a unique opportunity with Infinity War and Endgame to do very drastic things with the character. Okay, so Infinity War and Endgame was when Thor was taken more seriously. Now, sure, you had Fat Thor, that was weird, unappreciated, but at the same time, Thor was a heavy hitter in those movies. He was a key component, and when he did fight, he was a badass. I enjoy that. I like keeping people on their toes. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me invested. I've said this before, but when it becomes too familiar, I think there's a risk in getting lazy. Then because I know what I'm doing. Now, is he speaking for him, or is he speaking for the entirety of the MCU? Because their content is predictable. Like I said, the Thor Ragnarok thing, that's been Thor in that movie and Thor Love and Thunder, which I didn't see. But he says it makes you lazy. It's making the producers, Kevin Feige, all these people working on shit, it's making them lazy, because they know if they push it out, the name itself is going to bring eyes. It's going to get butts in the seat. It's going to get ticket sales. Probably not as well as it once was, but nonetheless, people are still mindlessly consuming this garbage. I don't know if I'm even invited back, but if I was, I think it would have to be a drastically different version in tone. Everything, just for my own sanity. Haha. Thor lost his mind, that last one. He's got to figure it out now. So he said just for his own sanity, he needs a different tone. And that's the thing. What Marvel is currently going for is just pumping out content. It's just pushing stuff with agenda. All right, it's currently the MCU. All right, they've been taking down men for a long time. Like I said, T'Challa wasn't my issue necessarily. It was Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk. But because I love my people and my blackness so much, and seeing how these black characters have been handled in the MCU, I'm just not with it. I'm just I can't support it. I can't financially support my enemy. I can't take no part of that. Disney back in the day when I was a kid, young one, it inspired me to create, to make stories that told, or to create animations or movies or projects, content, stories that actually had lessons in them. Not to tell you need to think a certain way, but just to give you universal lessons that every human, male or female, could take something from and go about their life. That's what great storytelling is. Now is just, like I said, pumping out content, The stories that came before the comics, we just care about the name. All right, you coming to see Captain America, but it ain't really Captain America. You coming to see Thor, but it ain't really Thor. You coming to see the Incredible Hulk, he's the forgettable Sulk. You coming to see Falcon, well, he was only Falcon in Captain America's movies. But in his supposedly own movie, then he's Captain America. People, I don't want to hear these people know what they're doing, because they don't. The reason that the comic sold, the reason that us fans are so passionate and so like die hard about these things, because they once meant something. You had serious characters, you had joke characters, you put them all together, then especially, you know, with this big universe, then you got something for everybody. But in the MCU, it's just turned into formulaic content crap that at the same time has to shit on characters that made it as profitable as it is, that made people's careers, which I'm not gonna say made it for them, because they're like, well, shit, you only like me when I play a superhero. Well, you know what? It is what it is. People are going to see those characters. We see why these people have alienated their core audience, the comic fans, because these people are not comic fans. They don't care about that. If you like that, if you care about it, Namor said that's good and all, but this ain't that. That information ain't doing shit for the best version of this character's movie. All right, we're glad that you like him because it has the name. Come watch it. Come watch it. Give us your money. And then what he said about the recast T'Challa thing, he was like, you're free to voice your opinion.
I get it. Like I certainly wasn't like, that's crazy. I was like, oh, that's, yeah, I get that point of view. And I understand why people were so inspired by the man and the character. And it's a loss. I mean, it's a loss. There's no way to say it. I think that doesn't mean that people can't be inspired by the new Black Panther.
Sure.
And I think that doesn't mean that people can't be inspired by Wakanda post T'Challa. I think, and I hope that people give the movie a chance and watch it, and then if they still feel that way, that's okay. Like that is within everybody's right? But I hope they give the movie a chance.
Sure.
I hope they watch it.
Yeah.
And I hope they like it. Boy, that's the only reason we're making this movie, is for fans to like it. Sure. You know,
you can express your disapproval. At the end of the day, we got your money. Don't mean shit. You just complaining. On to the next project. All right, people. That's all for this video. Leave a like or dislike depending on the commentary. I know my approach is going to turn a lot of people off. I've been told that. I don't care. This is how I speak. These are my thoughts. I'm not black pilled at all. It's just I'm a realist, understanding that the properties that I love are in the hands of people who don't give a shit about them. They just care about that money, or what they think is going to bring them money, because this shit has been proven not to be so profitable as of late or recently. But yeah, leave me a comment down below. Tell me how you really feeling. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Tell me why you dropped out of supporting Disney's Marvel. What was the final straw for you? Not too much to do with this video, not really, but it's still cool to hear about people's journeys with loving a brand or franchise and just having to turn their back on it. Turn your back on it. It's only entertainment, people. You don't need it, not necessarily, or at least if you do, go find it in some independent person that truly cares about making something great, or go channel it into something else in your own creative projects, or something productive that you can be doing. Go work out, go hang out with your dogs, go spend time with some family, not fucking watching a Disney or Marvel project. Go, spend that time in other places, and definitely spend that money in other places. And if you find any value in my opinion whatsoever, you want to hear more of my thoughts, I appreciate you. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel.
So I'm not sure I get you.
Give me a real fight. Come on.
You alright, boy?
chapter in The Art of War about misdirection?